So, folks, welcome to another football roundup, talking all things transfers, news, preseason, all that good stuff. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe. Let's jump straight in. So, as you know, we're in the midst of preseason, something quite tedious at the moment, unless you're a Celtic fan who seem to be smashing all these big names by 4 goals. They've played already Chelsea, Man City, really successful in terms of those games. So it's all going well north of the border. For the rest, if we take some of them, probably not too much to conclude. Manchester City just wrapped up a game against Barcelona, so they drew 2-2. Both teams full of academy products on both sides. Barcelona B featuring very heavily with Barcelona, of course. A couple of interesting players already brought on, future super talents, so to speak. For example, a recent 16-year-old who is named Tony Fernandez came on in the second half, someone that Hansi Flick, and this is his first game in charge, but he's already talked about him in terms of the amount of talent he has. And Barcelona, they look good in places, especially with such a young, fearless team, I would say. And if they can be complemented in the right way, so if Gundogan, when he comes back, still has some legs in him, Yamal obviously will come back on a high, Pedri as well, despite having injury at the moment. You'll have Ter Stegen at the back with that solidity, and Lewandowski still there and thereabouts. So you have these type of profiles as well. So I think Barcelona could be a very, very fun team to watch next season. Probably comes a bit early and they need a bit more in terms of winning the league, in particular if Mbappe gets off to a razor start. But yeah, they could be the fun ones to watch next season as a pick. Manchester City, seems like they have a lot of bits and pieces going on around them that could make them, I wouldn't say destabilized, but yeah, some things that are playing on the mind. So on the transfer front, obviously Ederson has not been happy in the past weeks. He's been playing captain at the moment in these games on preseason. So is that a way to sort of repair that damage? Don't know. Kevin De Bruyne, who's not there at the moment, but obviously he was in the news as potentially leaving to go to Saudi Arabia, but maybe that's off for now. Alvarez is playing at the Olympics at the moment, probably trying to put himself a little bit in the shop window. He also was pretty vocal about not being happy. The fact that Haaland will always get priority over him, whether that's right or wrong, but that's always going to be the case, I think. So he sees that. And so from a transfer standpoint, not great. Guardiola also a bit sheepish on terms of committing to the future. He will also then take his time on that decision. So yeah, they've been playing with a backdrop of about 5 or 6 academy players over the last few games. They haven't won any so far, which in itself is nothing to be too concerned about, especially with those lineups that they've been putting out. They played against Celtic, AC Milan, and then Barcelona, 5 or 6 of their youth players, as I mentioned. And a couple that Guardiola has mentioned a lot specifically is Rico Lewis at right back. I think he played left back against AC Milan maybe, and Nico O'Reilly in midfield, who Guardiola says openly that he thinks he's going to be quite a talent in terms of a holding midfielder role. So both these guys could probably play a part in this season coming up. Grealish was also back, looking quite enthusiastic, probably with something to prove to himself after not making the Euro squad for England. So yeah, good to see. Calvin Phillips at the back was an interesting one. People talk about him struggling maybe when he's facing the wrong way and he's receiving the ball, and this may be a way to mitigate that because of all the players ahead of him. So yeah, it's not something I expected to see, but it's something that apparently didn't do too badly even against Barcelona. But yeah, these are still experimental times. They have Chelsea coming up as their next game. Chelsea has also had a bit of a strange up and down pre-season as well, using a lot of players that I think will make the majority of this squad, but obviously they're coming in with a new manager, testing out things. 3 at the back is what's been his go-to so far, but I think what's going to be important for them, an important character for them, will be Nkunku. So Christopher Nkunku being fit, ready to rock up front as their attacking option. He came from Leipzig last year, spent most of the season injured, but he's really had a great development in the last few years prior to coming to Chelsea. So he was previously at PSG, came across to RB Leipzig, where from just being a talent with some good physical attributes, a decent player, to be really honing his movement as an attacker, making his runs, timing them perfectly, finishing in a very composed way, scoring all types of goals. He's quite actually not too bad in the air, from scuffing goals in to going through one-on-one very strongly, chipping it in or sliding it in very, with a very high success rate. His link-up play also when he comes deep has also really been quite impressive in terms of enabling the style of the team that he's playing in. So a lot to see from him. I think he's really ready to test himself, show himself what he is in the Premier League. He was Bundesliga Player of the Year at least once. I'm thinking if he was twice or if he was top scorer twice. In any case, Germany, he's done his time. He's ready to show what he can do in the Premier League. So hopefully, touch wood, he can stay fit and be the main attacking option. Other than that, in pre-season, Manchester United played Arsenal 2-1. I think it was in the SoFi Stadium. Not much to say at all in that game, other than, unfortunately for them, their new centre-back talent, Lenny Yoro, was taken off injured. It's almost typical for a new signing. Not saying linked to Manchester United, but just new signings who come with high expectation, high price tag, and a lot of excitement to then get injured. And Nkunku was exactly one like this also last year. So hopefully it's not going to be too damaging. It doesn't look good walking around in a sort of leg brace or whatever. But yeah, hopefully that's something that they can get ready and back on the pitch quick enough. Other than that, not too much, I think, in terms of preseason. So let's just quickly jump to the transfer news. So speaking of Chelsea, they're probably the main one at the moment. In general, news is absolutely low on the ground, but Chelsea and Victor Osimhen, struggle a little bit with that name. I'll call him Victor from now on. Victor from Napoli, as well as Romelu Lukaku from Chelsea. These guys are all thinking that they can be a nice, interesting solution where a swap deal goes on. Particularly for Lukaku going to Napoli. So Napoli won the title, obviously, not last year, the year before, after I think it was maybe in 1990 that they won, top of mind, when they last won the title. So Victor Osimhen led them to that, top scorer, really showing his attributes. For me, he's a little bit like an Aubameyang, but even more explosive. He's faster, he's probably even stronger. His movement is maybe a bit more exhausting for defenders. He's very economical in it, though. He's not going to do too much coming back, dropping deep, and his link-up play is probably a little bit not as good as an Aubameyang, for example. But he's there to score goals, and he's there to score very explosively, especially when he breaks through. Finishes in a very explosive style as well. And unfortunately, Napoli won the title, but then Spalletti, their coach, then went to Italy for the national team, and the replacements last year have been they haven't worked out. They've had almost 3 people in charge at certain points during the season, and they finished I think in 10th place, more than 40 points off the lead. So a horrendous defense of their championship. Yet I think the ratio, his goal scoring ratio over per 90 minutes was still pretty high. So he's a player who has a lot to offer. Obviously one of the leading striking talents in what I think is quite a limited pool at the moment. A price tag that will be over 100 million. I saw 111 somewhere written, 111 pounds, 111 million pounds even. So it's going to be only in the territory of certain clubs to make that happen. But he wants out, and he's not training with the Napoli team at the moment. Lukaku wants in. Antonio Conte has now taken over. He has a certain play style. It's something that's worked well with Lukaku at Inter Milan a few years ago even. So they see that relationship as something that they can rekindle. Probably it's a good option for them. So the obvious option, or the obvious thinking is, can we do some sort of deal here with Chelsea and Napoli to swap those 2 players? A loan is mentioned initially for Victor to go to Chelsea. If he was paired up with And Nkunku, that would be quite amazing, to be honest. Nkunku, who is very flexible where he plays along that front line, probably likes a little bit on the left-hand side. Victor could play in the middle. And yeah, that could be, if you're having a 4-3-3, of course, that could be something really quite electric. Obviously, you have to get the rest of the team right. They're only going to be as good as their service as well. But yeah, let's see how that plays out. Arsenal was also mentioned, but it's a huge amount of money. We have to see if they can dig that up somewhere. Maybe with some of the exits that are happening. So Smith Rowe, I think, is going to Fulham. I'm not sure that's confirmed, but yeah, it's a signing that needs to happen. He doesn't get enough game time. He's not fit enough in general at Arsenal to challenge Odegaard, who would probably be the direct position that he would like to play in. It's something similar like Iwobi, who went to Everton a couple of years ago. At some point you just need to play and try and get some games. And he went for, I think, 35 million. I think Smith Rowe will be around that mark with the add-ins when they're factored in as well. So that's out. Maybe a couple of others. They're looking for Nketiah on the way out, some big bucks there. So with these type of exits, they could potentially put a package together. It's whether he would like to come. Is that the level for him? I don't see why not. The Arsenal project is really exciting at the moment. PSG was also mentioned. That's always a typical one. They're also trying to change their model a little bit to go younger, and rather than buy some expensive stars like they did in the past, Cavani, Ibrahimovic, etc. So it could be an option. They have the Mbappe money that will be coming in as well to reinvest. So yeah, something that'll be interesting to watch in the coming days, because to be honest, there's not much else to watch in terms of transfers. Atletico Madrid are interested in signing Chelsea's Conor Gallagher. So yeah, for some reason Simeone has the taste for some mid-tier, mid-level English players after Trippier. Now Conor Gallagher, who probably hasn't done what he was expected to do at Chelsea, or at least look to step up a level from his Palace days. A decent all-rounder, and maybe he can learn something from Diego Simeone in that role. Aston Villa and Tottenham also attracting attention. Yeah, you can see him at somewhere like a Villa. But if they've already made some moves, they already have Tielemans there. They've just got Onana in as well, so maybe that's not going to play out. Let's see what happens. But yeah, he's not going to pull up anything interesting wherever he ends up. Other than that, not really much else to talk about. West Ham view Dortmund's and Germany frontman Niklas Füllkrug as a potential target. Could do the job. I wouldn't say he's an absolute stunner of a player, but he's a good old-fashioned centre forward. He knows where the goal is. Not particularly quick, but he will do a decent job holding up the play. And with Dortmund, he's done good things. I mean, he's been part of that team that went to the Champions League final. The season before, they should have won the Bundesliga as well. So I think it's a good signing for them as an option up front. And lastly, from transfer standpoint, Arsenal interested in Bayern Munich and Germany winger Leroy Sané. Unlikely to make the move this summer. Yeah, I mean, he's obviously a great talent, but his attitude is always the question mark around that. And one thing that Arteta values, I think, above everyone or everything else in terms of the squad is getting personalities that have the right attitude and that will fit in within the group. Former Newcastle manager Steve Bruce is in talks to become Jamaica manager. Steve Bruce can do whatever. What a character. This is somebody who most people won't know has written his own books, mystery novels, as from a football perspective. So as a football manager, the protagonist is a football manager, Steve Barnes, who finds a murder of I think it's their newest signing, happened at their whatever lower league club. And he has to solve the mystery. I think it's called Striker, and there might be another one, maybe Sweeper. I think they're both with S. And this tells you something about what type of character Steve Bruce is under the surface. So yeah, maybe hopefully he has a good time within Jamaica. And other than that, I don't see too much more. Xavi Simon has decided to spend another year at RB Leipzig from PSG despite interest from Bayern Munich. Excellent move for him. He had a great season last year. He fit into the team, the squad. They play for him and really proved that he's not some Instagram, next best thing. But he is potentially a really good target and someone who will now make a great career for himself. He scored a couple of really nice goals outside the box, pinging them in, hold up play, etc. So that's great. He has a relationship there. Why not build off what you did last season and then see in a year's time where your next home will be. That's it. Other than that, I don't see anything else to talk about. Give me a sec just to quickly check if there's any other news. I don't think so for today. So that's it. I think only last comment is that Argentina will be playing France in the Olympics. Could be one to watch. I'll give that a tune, see if some of their players do anything interesting. Other than that, that's it. So again, please like and subscribe, and I'll talk to you on the next